Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we're going on a little driving lesson.
That's right, we're going to learn how to drive, but not only how to drive, but all the vocabulary and words associated to this activity. So why don't we listen to this dialogue for the first time, and we'll be back to explain it.
Okay, I'm ready for my driving lesson. Should I start the car?
Hold on there, Fittipaldi. First, let's go over things one more time. Now, before you even think of starting the car, make sure your seat is at a comfortable position and you can grip the steering wheel firmly. Next, check your rear view mirrors to make sure you can see properly.
We've been through this a million times. Let's get going already. I'm ready.
Fine. Start the car. Okay, now gently step on the clutch and shift to first gear. Good. Now accelerate gently and let go of the clutch as you do it. There we go. Good.
I'm doing it. I'm driving. This is awesome. Let's turn some music on.
Keep your eyes on the road. No music. We are coming up to a red light. Step on the brakes. What are you doing? I said the brakes. Look out for those people. Get off the sidewalk.
Get out of my way. Oh, this is just like playing video games.
It's the police. Pull over.
They'll never take me alive.
All right, great. So it's a great driving lesson, just like the video games.
Well, hopefully not like video games. We don't want to hurt anyone. But that comes a little bit later. First, let's check out some of these very important phrases in today's language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so on language takeaway, we have 5 words for you today, starting with the first one, the steering wheel.
Okay, steering wheel. So this comes from the fact that we have a wheel that we use to turn the car left and right. Mm-hmm. And so that's called to steer, to change the direction of something.
So the verb to steer is to take it left or right.
Exactly. So steering wheel is the instrument that we use to change the car's direction.
Very good. And, well, apart from this instrument, also in order to look to other cars that are behind you, you would look at your rear view mirror.
Great. So rear view mirror. This is a mirror that you have in front of you in the middle of the car, and you look at this mirror to find out if there are cars behind you. So it's a rear view. That means you're looking at the back. Rear means back or behind.
What about the mirrors that are on the side of the car, on the doors?
Those are called side view mirrors.
Side view mirrors.
Very literal. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. And, well, moving on, he was instructing her on how to drive, and he said, step on the clutch.
Well, this is an important word for those of you who are driving manual cars. That means that you have to control the way that the gas goes into the engine by yourself. Mm-hmm. And so a clutch is a pedal. It's the third pedal on the left, and you push this pedal to change gears. Okay, so some cars, they don't have this. For those of you who don't worry about it. But if you do, a clutch is on the far left. It's the third pedal. Okay, so this is for a manual car, manual transmission car, because many people have automatics where you just accelerate and the car automatically changes gears. Exactly. And so a lot of Europeans drive manual cars and have this clutch.
Okay, so you step on the clutch, and in order to change gear, you say to shift into first gear.
That's right, because if you're driving, you know that you can't go from first to fifth gear, right? Mm-hmm. There's 4 or 5 gears. And so you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to go in order. So we're shifting. We're moving up or we're moving down. So that's called to shift.
All right, to shift. And now in the dialogue, we heard to shift into first gear. So that's what it's called.
Exactly. And so normally the car starts in N, neutral. That was when you're at a brake, you're to stop. And if you want to start the car, you have to shift to first gear. And that's the lowest. That's going to help the car go. Okay, so to shift into first gear. Awesome vocabulary. I think this is really useful, especially because it's very specific, so you don't really see it very often in anywhere, but sometimes you need to use it. That's right, and it's especially useful if you're trying to teach someone how to drive. Yeah, because not everyone knows how to drive manual. Exactly. So why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back to explain Fluency Builder.
Okay, I'm ready for my driving lesson. Should I start the car?
Hold on there, Fittipaldi. First, let's go over things one more time. Now, before you even think of starting the car, make sure your seat is at a comfortable position and you can grip the steering wheel firmly. Next, check your rear view mirrors to make sure you can see properly.
We've been through this a million times. Let's get going already. I'm ready.
Fine. Start the car. Okay, now gently step on the clutch and shift to first gear. Good. Now accelerate gently and let go of the clutch as you do it. There we go. Good.
I'm doing it. I'm driving. This is awesome. Let's turn some music on.
Keep your eyes on the road. No music. We are coming up to a red light. Step on the brakes. What are you doing? I said the brakes. Look out for those people. Get off the sidewalk.
Get out of my way. Oh, this is just like playing video games.
It's the police. Pull over.
They'll never take me alive.
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 4 key phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Well, the first phrase is maybe the most important when driving. It's the first thing you do. You start the car.
All right, so you don't say you turn on the car, right?
No, so you put the key in the ignition and you start the car. That means you turn it on.
What about when you want to turn off the car, turn the car off? You say stop the engine.
Stop the car.
Stop the car. Stop
Yeah, stop the engine.
Stop the engine, right? All right, very good. Moving on, our next phrase is a million times. Why is this a phrase, a million times? It's pretty literal, right?
We've been through this a million times. Well, no, it's not literal. Otherwise, I think I might kill the person, because a million times means that we've had this same conversation many times. But you can't actually have it a million times. That's way too many.
So it's an exaggeration.
Yeah, it's a way to say a lot. So
A lot.
I've heard him say this a million times.
I've heard this story a million times.
Or I've done this. I've turned the car on a million times.
Okay, awesome. And now, well, they were driving and they heard a police siren and the guy told her to pull over.
Okay, so this is a very common car phrase again, especially when you're dealing with the police. So to pull over means to slow the car down and to stop it on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. So you could hear a policeman say, pull over. So pull over your car. That means slow down and stop the car on the side. Because obviously you can't stop in the middle of the road.
Right. So sometimes your mobile phone will ring as well, and you don't have a hands-free, so you have to pull over to the side so you can pick up the phone, usually, right?
Exactly. Or you could say, hey, Mom, could you pull over? I have to use the restroom.
Exactly. Awesome. All right, and our last phrase for today is to take me alive, to take someone alive.
They'll never take me alive.
All right.
That's what the character says. And so this is a phrase that we use when we're talking about people who are running away from the law. Mm-hmm. So he says, they'll never capture me. And if they do, I'll be dead. So he's saying either I run free or I die.
All right. So to take someone alive is basically that. But is it literal? Would you say?
No, this is not literal. He's saying they'll never catch me.
Okay, very good. All right, so that's all the phrases we have for today. Why don't we listen to this dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back.
Okay, I'm ready for my driving lesson. Should I start the car?
Hold on there, Fittipaldi. First, let's go over things one more time. Now, before you even think of starting the car, make sure your seat is at a comfortable position and you can grip the steering wheel firmly. Next, check your rear view mirrors to make sure you can see properly.
We've been through this a million times. Let's get going already. I'm ready.
Fine. Start the car. Okay, now gently step on the clutch and shift to first gear. Good. Now accelerate gently and let go of the clutch as you do it. There we go. Good.
I'm doing it. I'm driving. This is awesome. Let's turn some music on.
Keep your eyes on the road. No music. We are coming up to a red light. Step on the brakes. What are you doing? I said the brakes. Look out for those people. Get off the sidewalk.
Get out of my way. Oh, this is just like playing video games.
It's the police. Pull over.
They'll never take me alive.
All right, we're back. So driving now, this is interesting because as you mentioned, a lot of people in America usually have automatic transmissions, whereas in Europe, maybe they have manual transmissions.
Exactly.
Is there a reason for that, do you think?
I'm not sure what the reason would be. I think a lot of American car makers manufacture more automatic cars in general. Some people say that it's because people in America are less concerned with gas. But if you have a manual transmission, you can actually conserve a bit of gas. And so because gas prices in Europe are higher generally, more people are interested in having manual transmissions.
Also, I remember when I was younger, my dad always bought cars that had a manual transmission because he said that if ever they break down, it's much easier and cheaper to fix in a car that has a manual transmission than it is to fix an automatic one.
That's right. Well, and I personally think that it's better to learn how to drive on a manual transmission car because you can drive any car afterwards. But if you learn an automatic, you'll never know how to drive a manual.
There was also a case on television recently about a small child that actually the dialogue is based on it is he took his dad's car and he was like 7 years old and he was driving and was being chased by the police.
No way.
And then he pulled into his house and got out of the car and ran into the house. So obviously he was an underage driver, but he didn't get into much trouble. But it was interesting because he drove very, very well.
That's unbelievable.
And basically almost learned it by game simulators, by video games, on how you drive on a video game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well, NASCAR, here he comes.
Right.
As we step into a new year, it's a perfect time to reflect on our goals and resolutions. Many of us focus on self-improvement, whether that means getting in better shape, spending more time with family, or learning new skills. But what about improving our driving habits? Safer driving not only protects you, but also helps safeguard your loved ones and everyone on the road. This year, consider making a commitment to safer driving with resolutions that can have a lasting impact. NHTSA encourages you to start the new year with a commitment to these 10 important safety goals. Buckle up. Every trip, every time. Wearing your seatbelt can save your life and reduce the risk of injuries if you're in a crash. Always place the shoulder belt across the middle of your chest and away from your neck, and place the lap belt across your hips, not your stomach. You should never put the shoulder belt behind your back or under your arm. Misuse can have dangerous consequences. If you have passengers, make sure everyone is properly buckled before hitting the road. Remember, buckle up. Every trip, every time. Ensure children are in the right seat. It's important to choose the right seat, install it correctly, use it every time your child is in the car, and know when it's safe to transition to another type of car seat or seat belt. NHTSA can help you through the process with car seat recommendations based on your child's age and size, detailed car seat installation instructions, and finding a car seat inspection station to have a certified technician check your work. NHTSA also offers seatbelt safety tips for tweens. Remember that the back seat is the safest place for children under 13. Drive sober. Driving while impaired is a dangerous, deadly crime. In every state, it's illegal to drive impaired by any substance, alcohol, or other drugs, whether legal or illegal. Being a responsible driver is simple. If you're impaired, do not drive. Instead, plan ahead and arrange a safe ride home before the event. You can schedule a rideshare or taxi, call a sober friend, or use public transportation to get home safely. If you're hosting an event where alcohol will be served, make sure all guests leave with a sober driver and don't hesitate to stop someone from getting behind the wheel after drinking. Pay attention to the road. Distracted driving includes talking or texting on your phone, eating and drinking, talking to people in your vehicle, adjusting the stereo, entertainment, or navigation system, anything that takes your attention away from the task of safe driving. Texting or holding a cell phone to talk is illegal in many states. Remember that driving safely always requires your full attention. Obey speed limits. Speeding puts you, your passengers, and all the people you share the road with in unnecessary danger. Speeding also increases the risk for more severe injuries in a crash. Remember that speed affects your safety even when you're driving the speed limit, but too fast for road conditions, such as in bad weather, at dawn or dusk, at night, or through a construction zone. Never drive drowsy. Making sure you get enough sleep daily is the best way to protect yourself against the dangers of drowsy driving. If you take medications, make sure to understand how they may affect your ability to drive safely and adjust your schedule or arrange for alternative transportation if necessary. If you must drive during the peak sleepiness periods, midnight to 6 a.m. and late afternoon, be alert for signs of drowsiness, such as driving over roadway lines or rumble strips. Share the road responsibly. Be mindful that you share the road with not only other motorists, but also motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Learn about the safety challenges motorcyclists face because of their size and visibility, and motorcycle riding practices like downshifting and weaving to know how to anticipate and respond to them. Make sure to give bicyclists enough room on the road, yield to them as you would other motorists, and don't underestimate their speed. Always be on the lookout for pedestrians and use extra caution when driving in hard-to-see conditions. Pay attention to flashing lights. If you see a vehicle with flashing lights stopped on a highway, move over into a lane not adjacent to the vehicle. If moving over isn't safe, slow down. All 50 states have move-over laws to protect law enforcement officers, emergency responders, and other roadside workers. Flashing lights also include watching out for school buses in neighborhoods and communities. If a school bus has its yellow lights flashing, you must slow down and prepare to stop. If the bus's red lights are flashing and its stop arm is extended, you must come to a full stop and wait until the bus's flashing lights turn off and the bus begins moving again. It's illegal to speed up and pass a bus, as it slows to a stop with its yellow lights flashing or is stopped with its red lights flashing. Even when a bus doesn't have flashing lights, take extra care to look out for children. Talk to teen drivers. If you have a teen driver, remind them to always wear their seat belts, obey speed limits, put away their phone, and limit the number of people they allow to ride with them to reduce distractions. Remember that you have more influence on your teen than you may think, so be a good role model and get and stay involved in your teen's driving habits. Check for recalls. You should check for vehicle safety recalls at least twice a year. There are many ways to check for recalls. You can visit nhtsa.gov/recalls and enter your vehicle's license plate or VIN. You can sign up for email alerts that will notify you if your vehicle is affected by a future safety recall. You can also download NHTSA's Safer Car app, enter and store your vehicle's information in the virtual garage, and let the app automatically send you a notification if there's a recall. If a vehicle does have a recall, contact the automaker's local dealership to schedule a free recall repair. Make sure to also search for recalls related to other vehicle equipment such as car seats and tires. A safer 2026 starts with you. Making these simple but important resolutions can save lives and prevent injuries. Start 2026 with a focus on safety and make your New Year's resolutions count, not just for you, but also for everyone who shares the road with you.
So if you have any questions, any comments, or any other suggestions for lessons, please come to our website, englishpod.com, and we'll see you guys there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.